It was symposium. It was symposium. You and I talked, and you were like, "I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it."
Yep,
and
I
then,
did. Yeah.
And then you started submitting tickets, and I'm like, "He did it."
Yes, I did. Yep. Help.
How's everyone doing? I'm here with Ryan Walsh from Bryn Mawr Racing. Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you. This is year number 13 of race timing. Well, 2009 we started with just putting on some of our own events, and then we moved on to timing events along with managing events that way too. And we've grown from a very small one to we'll probably see close to 250 races that we're going to be helping in some capacity this year.
So did you start by producing races?
Yeah.
So,
Bryn Mawr Running Company is the store that I worked at in graduate school, and then I couldn't work at the store anymore, so I was like, hey, you know what? I can help with the events. There was a couple of events going on at the time, a Valentine's Day race, a summer event, and I said, let me be the race director since the other guy was stepping down. So I did that, and I'm like, well, let's see if we can time the race on our own after we saw the timing expense, and it was a complete disaster. And we learned from that and made more mistakes and did that even more. And they're like, you know what, I'm going to buy my own equipment and try this on my own. And we started doing that, and then it kind of grew organically. Hey, could you time our race?
Yeah.
And that's how it started out now. And that's still the way we are. We don't market. It's still based on referrals, and people hear or see us at races, and they ask us to time the races too.
I think it's really interesting that you say that, because I feel like every timing company's startup story is very similar, where it's so organic. I've never met a timer who was like, I'm going to be a timer. Right. This is what I want to do. It's like they work at a running store, or they sort of get exposed to it, and then boom, they're like hooked on it.
Yeah.
So when you started timing, kind of what were you, what year was it?
This is 2010.
2010. Yeah. So RunSignup was just born.
Yeah.
But what were your initial kind of hardwares that you were using? Kind of what were you
so
using
hardware, we were pull tag. We were using the time machine, and we would post results on the store website. Eventually we started our own website. What did we even use for registration? I can't even remember. But we tried doing our own platform for a while, and it was a disaster with credit cards, processing and not going through that way. And then Brian Jenkins reached out to me a couple times, like, who is this guy? What does he bother me with this stuff? And he listens, and he knew I had a young son who was about 4 or 5 at the time, and he sent me Play-Doh. And I'm like, what is this Play-Doh for? And he's like, this is from Brian from RunSignup, and just thinking of your son here, and just thinking maybe just give RunSignup a try whenever you want to try it there. So we tried it in 2014 for a race. This guy Cliff was a close friend. I'm like, hey Cliff, you mind if we try your race on RunSignup, and we'll do registration on there? And he's like, yeah, let's try it. And I'm like, all right, this was really good. And we were doing our own web results before that, and it wasn't going well too. I wanted clickable results where people could share it on Facebook or at the time in social media that way, and we just couldn't do it that way. It was just a static results page there, and that changed everything there. Software, we were using RunScore. We've been using RunScore up till about 8 months ago for all of our races, and we've grown to a staff of about 10 head timers, 20 secondary timers to assist, 5 photographers, a drone guy. We have a marketing team too.
You have a drone guy?
We have a drone guy.
That's
Actually, he gets called for about 5 or 6 races there. So it's
one of those like little FPV drones.
He's got FAA certifications there, so he can go in there and say if it's okay or not that way. And we've been using him for a couple races too. Yeah.
I'll digress, but I watch a lot of cycling races, and they, at the Cyclocross World Championships and recently at a professional race, they had a drone like following the back of the sort of the leaders of the race. Wow. I thought it was very awesome.
Yeah.
So, you're ahead of the game there as well.
Right.
So you were using RunScore, you said, up until 8 months, and obviously you're a big RunSignup proponent, but in the years past, I've always talked to you, and you've always had a little bit of hesitation to kind of moving to RaceDay Scoring, which was sort of our timing software. So in that era, what was your hesitation to kind of moving to RaceDay Scoring?
It's just what you know and what you don't know. And the originally getting trained on RunScore, which is it's like code. A lot of it is like code there, and it's challenging that way. And I just knew how it worked. I could do it well most of the time. Most a standard 5K or 10K, it's easy. But it had severe limitations when I had remote splits. I had triathlons and things started crashing. That got stressful too. And it was just, and the biggest challenge was training new guys on it. Like it was just like, what is this? It's a good product, but it seemed a bit antiquated that way. And it was always a challenge there. And we had support systems in place where we have remote desktop where we could support each other. In fact, one of my head timers left us, and I said, you have a skill set that I can't let you go. So you're still going to be you're going to be on call, and I'll still pay you to be on call on Saturday or Sunday mornings when I'm too busy with the race with its own issues, and they'll call you, and you'll log in and help them out that way. And he's actually adapted. He's never timed the race with RaceDay Scoring, but he took the initiative to learn it on his own. Yeah. And Pat's been integral to that part way. So it just came down to the big parts were training new guys, and just the limitations of what RunScore was, and the support. Alan's a legend. He's the one who developed RunScore in the first place here, but it's the amount of support I get from RunSignup versus that it can't be compared. Yeah. And the same thing is with RaceDay Scoring. I was like, okay, I know that not only are you guys going to be timely in getting back to me, but you even gave me your phone number. Yeah. Because I got in trouble last fall with one race, and I said I need a phone number, and I have a phone number now, so you guys can log right in and help me out that way. So that's been good. And
last we spoke back in July, I don't know how many months. So this is now March. So however many months ago. You were sort of at that point where you were basically committed to changing and kind of switching over. What led you to kind of that point, and then how has the transition been for you?
Well, I think it was one of my last triathlons in the summer where it was just not enjoyable. Yeah. I was constantly looking at the screen, making sure those splits came through. And I'm like, there's got to be an easier way than this, because everyone else is talking and I'm glued to a computer, not enjoying myself. Smaller events, I can just sit around and mingle and let the software do the work for it and just check in every once in a while, making sure everything's okay. So I think that was the one that did it for me. And I almost lost that client, and he's going to stick with me for this year. And I haven't done a triathlon with RaceDay Scoring, but Matt assures me he's going to support me through that along with the other guys. Yeah. So that's kind of what did it in. And then once I jumped in and started doing that, and then my top head timers like Bruce and Jason tried it out. They did it at some club runs, and they felt better about it. And then that's all it needed to tell the rest of the guys. It wasn't just me directing, you got to do this. Once they all did it, they're like, this is awesome.
Yeah, did it feel like, obviously, as you mentioned, it's like the change is petrifying, right? You've been using the same software for, a decade now. Mm-hmm. And was it more just like getting it in front of you, getting it open on a race, and once you had it open on a race, it was just like, okay, this I can get with this.
Yeah, and it takes a couple reps. Like I said, no one's going to feel good in the first race. Maybe like 3 or 4 races, you're going to feel pretty good about it that way. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, the thing that and were you dual scoring still initially? Like you were still using RunScore and dual scoring with RaceDay Scoring?
I did for a few. Yeah, just to compare, see how it worked, and it was pretty much identical. Yeah.
We always tell people, and I'm sure Avery told you as well, like if you, and I know I definitely told you this last July, was if you aren't feeling comfortable, dual score. Just you want to double check everything, make sure your results are looking correct. So it's interesting that I think everyone kind of goes that dual scoring route before they fully commit. Yeah. So since then, like how has been sort of how has RaceDay Scoring been for you? How have you felt in that transition? And then is there anything that you would like RaceDay Scoring to improve on, or anything like that from your point of view?
Not off the top of my head, I can't think of anything right now. I'll tell you after I get through triathlon season. Mm-hmm. Right. With that there, but what's one good thing is a feature there as well. We would use those time machines like we've been using for years, and once you guys had the timing app, we can use that as a backup timer now. Yep. That's been pretty big. So now I'm trying to unload my time machine before everybody else knows about the timing app. Exactly. Yeah. Edit that out until I sell these last 3 time machines here. Yeah. But I'm trying to get those off on Timer Talk Sales there. And that's like just one missing moving part where we would plug that into the computer as a backup there. And I'm like, one thing I would like to see is those times come in with the chip timing which would be nice. That's one thing. RunScore, you could actually line up and see the select times. Oh, and the chip time line up. That was one feature in RunScore we really liked there. But at the end of the day, like, we're going to get 99% of our reads if no one's tampering, or if it's not below a zipper. But if it is, most of the time my guys are on their phone and they're getting 80% of the also a whole bunch coming at a time.
Yeah.
They're getting 80% of those select times, and we can go in there and input those in as a raw read.
That's awesome. Yeah. We to give you a background, obviously, like, I know you pretty well, and we had a conversation back in July, and for our support team, every Monday we do like a recap call. And when you started submitting tickets in, I was like, oh, sweet, Ryan's, trying it out and everything like that. But I would tell like Dave and Chris, who I'm sure you've interacted with, like, hey, like, Ryan is transitioning. I know, make sure you take care of him.
I need my handheld. Yes.
Yeah. But I think it's really interesting because a lot of your questions that you've submitted to us are like, we use that as a tool for us, for support, how to learn, but how to better teach you and how we can improve the product. And I think, I'm only telling you this because I want you to like know this, is that like your little emails that you think are useless and that you solve like by yourself, like, are actually still very helpful to us, because from our point of view, we use, that's like feedback points. That's communication loops from us where we can say like, oh, Ryan was thinking this, like, why was he thinking this? How can we improve the product? How can we improve the usability? So I wanted to make sure you got that.
And I can share that with the rest of my team too.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
Want feedback too.
We always want people to send in tickets, even if it's like you think it's irrelevant and kind of stupid or whatever. We'll take that feedback all the time.
Just when my head's not spinning after a 13 race weekend. Right,
exactly, yeah. And something interesting that you did recently was with RaceJoy. I think you and I worked extensively quite a bit on RaceJoy. So kind of how do you use RaceJoy, and how do you kind of view the RaceJoy side of things?
Yeah, I thought that was just going to be like a temporary thing with the pandemic, and we got hired for the Philadelphia Marathon to track those runners, and that was pretty cool. I mean, but it might have been a one and done, maybe not. But one of the interesting things that I found, that we did a race in February, and I do the add-on virtual event, and which is always a good one, because if someone can't make it, I'll just move them over to the virtual. Therefore, I avoid the refund in the first place, and I can always ship out their stuff there. But it was funny. I got a few requests there, and then back in the fall, I got a few races that said, hey, I can't use the RaceJoy app here live. I'm like, well, we're timing you. We got you. He's like, well, I want my friends at home to track me. And I'm like, oh, that's not a bad idea. I didn't realize someone wants to even do that in a 5K. So now we have offer that as an add-on service. We've always had that as an add-on service, but now we can say we'll actually map out your course with Kevin's help, of course, because I can never get them to upload correctly. But I offer that to them, and actually see like some people on RaceJoy actually were using it, and they were being tracked that way. So that's a nice little add-on feature. There. I actually got hired by a hospital out in San Diego last week. They want us to just do a virtual race, and I'm like, well, where are we gonna be working with you, RunSignup? I'm like, well, technically it's me. I'm your ambassador, but those guys did all the work behind there. But I'm going to be your gatekeeper for all these things here, and it's a pretty easy setup to get going.
Going back really quickly, you briefly mentioned how you thought RaceJoy was just like a virtual thing. So during that 2020, kind of early 2021, is that when you got onto RaceJoy? Is that correct?
Yeah. We didn't have any races going, so we had to pivot a lot with different options. So, and I was bored. I'm a teacher by day, and I wasn't teaching. I mean, I was teaching virtually, but I had a lot of extra time, so we did some challenges, like run across the state of Pennsylvania, and you get a medal and a T-shirt. So that part of the job I don't like. The fulfillment of race swag, but it had to be done there, and I had to do it tonight for my race last weekend. Right. But it's just something that I outsourced to my son to do.
Out of curiosity, do you still offer hybrid, like virtual components or you recommend it to any of your customers?
We offer it to all the races that we time. We offer that virtual option, just saying, hey, you have people who might have moved out of the area, they still want to support the cause. we can set this up at a half the price that we usually offer just a standalone virtual. And some people take advantage of that. I've seen less of it now because they're like, everyone's gung-ho about the live, but I don't see it going away. For the events that I own with my partners from the stores, I always offer that virtual option.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that post-pandemic, like I'm looking at races all day long. Every race now has a virtual component. Mm-hmm. There might be 5 people registered for it, but I think it's just having that option there. Right. And then you just turn on RaceJoy Race Anywhere, and you're like, yeah, chill. Like you'll submit results through.
Give him a few miles, music. Put Bruce Springsteen on at the 1 mile mark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or St. Patrick's Day this month there for different at the mile mark.
Yeah. So, awesome. One final thing from me. What's your favorite RunSignup related feature, tool, person? Just anything related. Do you have like a favorite thing about, kind of features wise?
I mean, from the features wise, I still love the check-in app. That's great. The new timing app is awesome, but the check-in app still takes a cake there. Well, people are blown away by that. Yeah. The race directors are like, I tell my son, all those stupid apps on your phone, the most important one there is the RaceDay check-in app. That's made your dad's life so much easier with no more labels, no more assigned bib numbers, and just being able, now that the volunteers can change the age or the gender or the event, that's less work for us there. That's still definitely my favorite. I mean, you guys are full of resources. I mean, you've been helping me with stuff. Valerie's been great. Brian just calls me like once a month just to see what's going on and just bounce ideas off of me and what I'm up to that way. And he gives us new ideas that way. So it's been a great partnership.
Awesome. Yeah. We definitely appreciate you. And, obviously we appreciate every customer we have, and it's always nice to kind of get in front with someone and talk with you. So really appreciate you joining us, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ryan. Yep.
Look, man, you can do this. As soon as they show, oh, actually they're here now. Okay. Take it away. Let them know. Thanks for watching the video. No, don't get too close to them. Just say thank you for watching the video. You can subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell and all if you want to see more. And don't forget to ask for that like. You could do this. I believe in you. Take it away. Well, we tried.